Hi, I'm Simon, and this is my video for the Proud2Be project. I'm proud to say that I am a gay man, and when I look back at my childhood, I think I've always kind of been proud of being different and who I am. At times I haven't realised that, and at times I've taken on board people's kind of concerns and people's prejudices, and in time, I think that kind of built a bit of a sense of shame. Now, I'm very kind of fortunate to come from a wonderful family who always encouraged me to be exactly who I am and kind of embrace my differences. So when I was, 7, 8 years old, my brother would be out playing football, my sister would be out with friends, and I would be sat there watching kind of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers musicals on the TV, or kind of watching Katharine Hepburn films, or just reading or going to the library and just being kind of a different child. And my parents and my family were always really supportive of that. I think where I found it kind of difficult was going to school and being different and being, quite an obviously gay child as well. I was the kind of target for lots of kind of bullying and abuse and lots of, name calling, faggot, gay, boy George, whatever. And that was really hard, actually. That was really hard. And I think I was never ashamed of who I was. And even though then I wasn't sure whether I was, definitely gay. I didn't really know what gay was. There was no kind of real gay role models for me. I didn't know anybody who was gay, but I always remember feeling kind of very, very different. And I remember going into classrooms and people kind of, taking apart my personality, judging the way I spoke, the way that I behaved, the way that I acted, and, just kind of saying things that were pretty horrible, actually. Pretty horrible. But one thing that I'm particularly proud of at that time was that I never kind of thought that there was something wrong. I knew that other people had an issue with me, but actually that it was their issue. And even when, I remember being 14 and being in an English talk, and most of my kind of male peers were talking about talking about football, Everton, Liverpool, and we had to do an English class talk, and I talked about my love of Janet Jackson. And actually, that got me a lot of grief, but what I'm really, really proud of looking back is that I didn't care. I was proud to be different, and I was proud to talk about things that I loved. And now I have a great job, I have a wonderful life, I have a great family and friends. I could do with being in a relationship, but, these things happen, and at the right time and the right time for you. And this is an amazing time, and the Equality Bill has just gone through the House of Lords today, which is fantastic. And never did I think that as a young child that I would be able to, have the chance to fall in love with a man and marry him. And that has kind of been made possible today, so that is amazing. Proud2Be project, be very proud of what you've done and all that you've achieved, and whatever you're going through, whatever age you are, it's important to remember that you are who you are, and be proud of who you are. Don't listen to what other people say when they say that you're not good enough, that you're not right, that you should behave in a certain way, that you should act in a certain way, that you should look a certain way, and that you should speak a certain way, and that everything about you is wrong, because that is rubbish. Everything about you is right. Love yourself, be kind to people, and just embrace who you are. And seriously, that's the only way. Thank you.